Okay, it all started when I saw a clip of a meeting between Trump and Netanyahu, where Trump said that he was going to talk with Iran about a deal. And I figured what he was going to do is present a deal like Netanyahu always presents deals that is unacceptable by the other side. So it's unacceptable by the other side, and then the PR machine goes into blaming the other side why negotiations hadn't happened. And then Trump would be justified in bombing Iran. But a couple of days. Well, anyway, so when I saw that, I thought, well, maybe it'd be should have one invest in oil if the U.S. bombs Iran. But then a couple of days later, I read some analysts and they said, oh no, Netanyahu didn't know that Trump was going to talk to Iran directly. And you can see it in here. You see how his face is very glum. And I looked at the video instead of just a short one from here, and they're right. Netanyahu obviously did not know that Trump was going to talk to Iran directly. And we do know now, just recently, that Witkoff went and in the first round of negotiation did not say that Iran had to stop enriching uranium and get rid of its whole nuclear program, which is always the non-starter deal that Netanyahu wants to put forward. So the Trump is dealing with Iran, probably looking for some sort of payout, and is not interested in pursuing Netanyahu's war games. Anyway. Moving on. Still, this is a question of if the U.S. bombs Iran, should one invest. Now, for those who don't follow the energy thing much, I just want to sort of go through some basics or the fundamentals, or my perspective of things. So, if you look at history from 1500 all the way back to recorded time, as far as we know, the price of goods was the same. Labor costs were the same in a sense, because you're one man, one horse. That's your unit of labor. I mean, sure, slavery might change things locally between rich and poor, but it wouldn't bring the whole economy, improve their standard of living. And that's what we see in this period. Then things begin to change. And in the 1500s, we have the age of sail, where sailing technology uses wind power to go around the world, trading goods, whatever. And we start to see that costs rise, right? Wages and costs rise, but so does the standard of living during the age of sail. And then the next bump up is steam engines, when we develop engines to use coal power. And that's another huge rise that happens around in the 1700s. But again, the point I want to make is that energy equals money. Money by itself doesn't lead to anything. It's just a fixed unit cost based on your labor. So to look at the, what would happen if the U.S. bombed Iran, I want to look at another time where Iran tried to choke off the Suez Canal. And that was during the tanker wars between 1984 and 88, when Iran and Iraq were at war with each other. And I've looked at the data. It's just inconclusive. Goes up, goes down. It's not a simple thing like the war started and the price just dropped immediately. So tanker war is inconclusive. Now, I want to look at some just basic data going over time. So here's crude oil, and this is production. And again, what does the past tell us about the price of oil? Well, as we can see, production went up to 1970s and then started to decline. And I would make the argument that the housing crisis was not really what drove the great financial recession of 2008. It was a reduction in oil supplies. So you can see here's the price, and it really starts to go up, right? And then we have the crash, and then it goes down. But what brings it up again? Well, increased production from fracking. So fracking, the technology of fracking really starts to take hold here. They perfect it essentially, and it produces a lot of oil, which we have until this day. And so as it produces oil, prices go down, the prices go up. Well, this is the pandemic, and now it's sort of stabilized right here between 80 and 60. So 50, by the way, that I would say that's low. All right, so now if we look at just the past 10 years in crude oil and the spot price, we can see that the crude oil is going up to 2000, then we have the pandemic, then it's going up. But to me, it flatlines here. So really in the past few years, oil production is not increasing. And of course, you have the price. This is the pandemic here. Goes down, goes up. It's now stuck around here. So this is again why I believe that anything below $60, like here, we're just never going to see this again. So if it comes here, this is, to me, this is a buying opportunity. Again, investing isn't really my thing. All right, so now let's go to, this is diesel. Now, it's a diesel. Diesel is what represents, crude oil has many uses, from farming to cosmetics to pharma to whatever. But in diesel oil, that to me measures the actual economic productivity or health of a country, because everything is, diesel is used for trucking, for shipping, for railroads, for factories. I mean, nothing reaches you from the modern world without diesel. So here we have diesel, and it's going up, and around 2000, basically flatlines. We see here the price goes up. So the question is, why has the price gone down the past 10 years? It's a big question. And here's just the last 10 years of that. Again, we can see that the production is going up and down, but the price is slowly decreasing. And I believe it's decreasing because the strength of the dollar is going up. So the dollar gets more it's worth more, we get more diesel. But this is fake. So this is a lot of monetary nonsense, which I won't go into, but anybody who follows this knows what they think about QE of, when was it, 15 years ago, whatever. I think it's all going to come back, So, yeah, I don't really have any conclusions, but I guess if I had to make a conclusion, I would, in the positive for buying oil if the U.S. bombs Iran, is that we're in a peak plateau of production. So the shortages won't be made up like they were in the last time with the discovery of the Prudhoe Bay, North Sea drilling, fracking. We're out of, Hail Marys, I think. And then diesel, which represents the real economy, as the production has been plateaued, while it's decreasing in price, which makes no sense. So to me, that's from monetary inflation. So the decreases in prices, if they are due to interest rates and the dollar or whatever, then they're just itching, right, to go back to where they should be without all that inflation. And so if you take those two, if you believe those two factors, that we are in peak oil and that diesel has been artificially, its prices have been lowered through monetary and fiscal tricks, then I think the bombing of Iran or any sort of geopolitical issue in the Middle East is going to make everybody have to go and see what's what. Like, what do they really own? What can they really do? And I think what they'll look at is like, oh, well, there is nobody in the market that's going to produce a ton to take advantage of this. So prices will really continue to rise. And then the diesel stuff will have to normalize because I think it's artificially depressed. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. My first video. Hope you got something out of it. Thanks for watching. Bye.